Unjustly accused of embezzlement at a luxury hotel, an events coordinator got into a stranger's car, mistaking him for her Uber driver. When she told him her story, the man silently took out his phone and tersely ordered everyone into his office in 1 hour. No exceptions. Welcome to Rex Stories channel. Before we begin, let us know where you are watching from. We are very interested to know. We hope you enjoy listening to this fascinating story. 11 o'clock at night. Elena Rodriguez wearily pressed her trembling fingers against her temples, brushing away strands of long, dark hair that clung to her tear-stained face. Her heart was pounding from the shock. Her legs felt weak from hours of interrogation, but the nightmare was far from over. The Grandeur Hotel's ornate ballroom on the 3rd floor, the very room where she had orchestrated hundreds of flawless events, now stood as a crime scene in her mind. Elena pushed through the staff exit door with her shoulder, clutching a cardboard box of her personal belongings in her arms. The corridor greeted her with the familiar scent of expensive floral arrangements and the lingering aroma of champagne from tonight's Vandermeer Foundation Gala. Only the wealthiest clients celebrated here. Crystal chandeliers, imported marble floors, velvet seating and private alcoves. All of this contrasted so sharply with her current reality that sometimes Elena caught herself thinking it was like living in 2 different worlds. She set the box down on a bench, took out her phone with shaking hands, and opened the rideshare app. And her movements were mechanical, practiced. In her 10 years working at the Grandeur Hotel, Elena had learned every corner of this building. She knew which service elevators moved fastest, which exit the paparazzi never watched, and which ballroom had the most challenging acoustics. Her thoughts were far away. This afternoon, Sophia's school had called. Her daughter's teacher, Mrs. Henderson, needed to speak with her urgently about a family situation. Other parents had been asking questions. Sophia had come home in tears, asking why police officers had visited their apartment. Elena looked down at her burgundy velvet blazer, her signature piece, the outfit she wore to every major event, her armor of confidence. Now it felt like a costume from someone else's life. Rainwater had soaked into the fabric during her hurried exit, and she noticed a dark stain near the collar. Tears, probably, or rain. She couldn't tell anymore. The rideshare app confirmed her pickup. Black luxury sedan 3 minutes away. Elena gathered her box and walked into the rain toward the dimly lit staff parking area where Uber drivers usually waited. She just needed to get home to Sophia, to hold her daughter, to figure out how to explain that Mommy didn't steal anything, that the $40,000 everyone was talking about wasn't in some secret account, that Patricia was lying. Cold November rain fell in sheets, soaking through her blazer within seconds. Elena's grip on the cardboard box tightened as the bottom began to soften. Inside were picture frames from her desk, Sophia's school photos, the Employee of the Year award from 3 years ago, a photo of Abuela Rosa at Elena's graduation. With 10 years of her life reduced to objects that fit in a box she could barely carry. Headlights cut through the rain. A sleek black Mercedes pulled up to the curb, similar to the model shown in her app. Elena didn't check the license plate. She was too exhausted, too desperate to escape this place. She fumbled with the rear door handle, finally wrenching it open and sliding into the back seat with her soggy box. The interior was warm, quiet. It smelled of leather and subtle cologne. Soft jazz played on the stereo. The driver, a well-dressed man in his 40s with an unreadable expression, glanced at her in the rearview mirror. His eyes were intense, focused, but not unkind. "Where to?" he asked quietly. "Riverside Apartments, Building C," Elena whispered, her voice cracking. 127 Riverside Drive. She set the box on the seat beside her and pressed her palms against her face. The dam she'd been holding back for hours finally broke. Tears came in gasping sobs. Her shoulders shook. Everything she'd built, destroyed in a single day. Her reputation, her career, her ability to provide for Sophia. All gone. The driver said nothing. He simply pulled away from the curb, merging smoothly into the late-night traffic. The city lights blurred past the rain-streaked windows. "I'm sorry," Elena choked out between sobs, trying to compose herself. "I'm so sorry. I can't." "They arrested me. At work, in front of everyone." The driver's eyes met hers briefly in the mirror. He didn't tell her to calm down or stop crying. He just listened, his expression steady, his hands calm on the steering wheel. Orna and Elena, who had spent 10 years maintaining perfect composure, who never showed weakness, who always had everything under control, completely fell apart. The words tumbled out in broken fragments. $40,000. They say I stole $40,000 from a charity gala. I coordinated that event perfectly. Everything was accounted for. But my supervisor, Patricia, she showed them forged documents with my signature, bank statements I've never seen, and everyone believed her. The hotel manager, the police, everyone. The driver made a slight adjustment to the rearview mirror as if to see her more clearly. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, but he said nothing. "I have a 9-year-old daughter," Elena continued, her voice barely a whisper now. "Sophia, she's everything to me. Her father left before she was born. It's just us, and now. The school called today. Other parents are talking. Sophia heard someone say her mother is a criminal. She's 9 years old and she thinks her mother is going to prison." Rain drummed against the roof of the car. The windshield wipers moved in a steady rhythm. The driver navigated the wet streets with practiced ease, taking the route toward Riverside. "My grandmother raised me," Elena said, staring out at the blurred city. "Rosa Rodriguez. She came here with nothing, worked 3 jobs to give my mother a better life. She always told me, 'Mija, dignity costs nothing, but it's worth everything. Treat every person like they matter.' And I thought I was honoring her, coordinating beautiful events, creating moments people would remember. But I lost sight of what she really meant." She pressed her forehead against the cool window glass. Rosa organized community celebrations, quinceañeras for families who couldn't afford them, weddings in church basements, memorial services with dignity. She made people feel worthy of beauty. And me? I served champagne to billionaires while my own people struggled. The driver's knuckles were white on the steering wheel now, though his expression remained neutral. "Now I'm facing criminal charges. 5 years in prison if convicted. They've seized my bank account. I can't make rent. Sophia's school called about unpaid tuition. My lawyer, this public defender who barely looked at my file, says I should take a plea deal. Plead guilty to something I didn't do." Elena's voice broke completely. "I don't know what to do. I don't know how to protect my daughter from this. I don't know how to prove I'm innocent when everyone has already decided I'm guilty. Patricia destroyed me in 1 day. 1 day. And there's nothing I can do about it." The Mercedes slowed as they approached Riverside Apartments, a tired brick building with flickering exterior lights. The driver pulled to the curb but didn't immediately unlock the doors. Instead, he reached for his phone. Elena watched through her tears as he dialed a number, his expression shifting from neutral to something harder, determined, almost dangerous. The call connected. "Conference room," he said quietly, his voice carrying an authority that made Elena's breath catch. Everyone. 1 hour. No exceptions. He ended the call without waiting for a response. Then he turned slightly in his seat, meeting Elena's confused, tear-filled eyes in the mirror. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, barely above a whisper, "Miss Rodriguez, your grandmother's name was Rosa?" Elena nodded, confusion cutting through her despair. "Yes, Rosa Rodriguez. How did you—" But the driver had already turned back to face the windshield. He unlocked the doors. "Get some rest tonight," he said softly. "Tomorrow, things are going to change." Elena gathered her box, fumbling with the door handle. "Wait! How much do I owe you? I need to pay—" "Nothing," he interrupted. "You owe me nothing." She stepped out into the rain, clutching her soggy box of belongings. The Mercedes remained at the curb as she hurried toward the building entrance. Just before she reached the door, she turned back. The driver was still sitting there, phone in hand, yet his face illuminated by the screen's glow. He was typing rapidly, his expression intense. Then he made another call. Elena couldn't hear the words, but she saw the way his jaw set, the way his eyes hardened. He looked like a man preparing for battle. Then the Mercedes pulled away, disappearing into the rainy night. Elena stood in the entrance, water dripping from her ruined blazer, and felt something she hadn't felt since the handcuffs closed around her wrists. A tiny, impossible spark of hope. 24 hours earlier, Elena Rodriguez had been untouchable. The Vandermeer Foundation Gala glittered like a dream. 500 guests in evening wear, champagne fountains casting prismatic light across imported Italian marble, a string quartet playing beneath crystal chandeliers worth more than most people's homes. Elena moved through the ballroom in her burgundy velvet blazer, her signature piece, coordinating every detail with practiced precision. Mrs. Vandermeer herself had squeezed Elena's hand. Perfection, as always. You're an artist, dear. That night, Elena had driven home to Riverside Apartments feeling invincible. Sophia was already asleep, her math homework still spread across the kitchen table. Elena had kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "Abuela Rosa would be so proud of us." Amnesia. 2 years since her grandmother's death, and Elena still felt Rosa's presence in quiet moments, that voice reminding her to build something meaningful, to serve with dignity. The gala had raised $500,000 for children's literacy programs. Elena had overseen every transaction, every signature, every receipt, flawless, until 9:17 the next morning when Patricia Langford appeared in Elena's office doorway, her face a mask of theatrical concern. "Elena, we need to talk. Now." Patricia's voice carried that syrupy sweetness that always preceded cruelty. "There's a discrepancy in the gala accounts." Elena's stomach dropped. "What kind of discrepancy?" $40,000 missing." The word hung in the air like poison. Patricia laid papers across Elena's desk, bank statements Elena had never seen, transfer authorizations bearing her forged signature, invoices to phantom vendors. The web was intricate, thorough, devastating. "This can't be real," Elena whispered. "I didn't—" "Security is on their way." Patricia's eyes glittered. "I'm so sorry, Elena. I vouched for you. I trusted you." The lie was flawless. Hotel security arrived first, flanking Elena like she was dangerous. Then the police, Detective Morrison reading rights while colleagues gathered in the corridor, phones raised, filming everything. Patricia stood back, dabbing theatrical tears. The lobby arrest was designed for maximum humiliation. Handcuffs clicking shut while the morning shift checked in guests, while yesterday's clients lingered over breakfast, while the woman who'd praised Elena's artistry covered her mouth in horror. The Sophia school called before Elena even reached the police station. The bail hearing was swift, brutal. $100,000 Elena didn't have. Her public defender, overwhelmed, indifferent, barely glanced up from his phone. "They've got documentation, bank transfers, your signature. You should consider a plea." "I didn't do this," he shrugged. "That's what they all say." Elena was released on bond that evening, her savings decimated, her career obliterated, her face plastered across local news sites. Luxury hotel coordinator charged with charity embezzlement. 24 hours. That's all it took for Patricia to destroy everything. And when Elena reached her apartment building, there was an eviction notice taped to her door, and Sophia crying in Miss Chen's arms, asking the question that shattered what remained of Elena's composure. "Mommy, are you going to prison?" The hotel management gave Elena 15 minutes to clear her office, 15 minutes to pack 10 years into a cardboard box, while 2 security guards watched her every move, as if she might steal the staplers. Her hands shook as she gathered framed photos, Sophia's school pictures, the employee awards that now felt like mockery, the snapshot of Abuela Rosa at her college graduation. Patricia walked past the office door twice, each time pausing just long enough for Elena to see that satisfied smile. "Make sure she doesn't access any computers," Patricia instructed security, her voice dripping false professionalism. "We need to preserve evidence." Elena said nothing. What was there to say? The box grew heavier with each item. A coffee mug Sophia had decorated with painted hearts, the burgundy scarf that matched her blazer, and a thank you card from Mrs. Vandermeer that now felt like evidence of her own naivety. By 11 o'clock, Elena stood outside the staff entrance, rain soaking through her blazer within seconds. Her phone's battery was dying, the rideshare app glitching. Finally, confirmation. Black luxury sedan, 3 minutes away. When the Mercedes pulled up, Elena didn't check the license plate, didn't verify the driver. She just needed to escape, to get home to Sophia before her daughter saw tomorrow's news cycle. What Elena didn't know was that Vincent Mark had been waiting for her. He'd seen her name in the police report 2 weeks earlier. Elena Rodriguez, accused of embezzlement. Rosa's granddaughter. The woman whose grandmother had saved his family 30 years ago. He deliberately parked outside the staff entrance, and knowing her shift would end around 11. When she got into his car thinking it was her Uber, he said nothing to correct her. He needed to hear her story first. Needed to know if Rosa's granddaughter was the person he hoped she'd be. The car's interior was warm, quiet, a sanctuary from the chaos. The driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror, his expression unreadable. Mid-40s, composed, expensive suit, visible beneath a dark jacket. Eyes that seemed to see everything. "Where to?" His voice was measured, calm. "Riverside Apartments, Building C." Elena's voice cracked. 127 Riverside Drive. He pulled into traffic without another word. That silence, that lack of judgment broke something inside her. The tears came violently, years of composure shattering, and then the words followed, pouring out between gasping sobs. And she told him everything. The forged documents, Patricia's perfect frame, the public arrest, Sophia's tears, the eviction notice, the impossible bail, 10 years of building a career destroyed in 24 hours. "My grandmother raised me," Elena whispered, watching rain streak down the windows. "Rosa Rodriguez. She died 2 years ago, but I still hear her voice. She told me to serve with dignity, to make people feel worthy, and I thought I was honoring her. But I was just serving champagne to people who already have everything." The driver's jaw tightened. His knuckles went white on the steering wheel. Now I'm facing 5 years in prison for something I didn't do, and my 9-year-old daughter asked me tonight if I'm going to jail. How do I answer that? How do I tell her the truth when I don't even know what the truth is worth anymore? They pulled up to her building. The driver sat motionless for a long moment. Then he reached for his phone, and his entire demeanor shifted from passive listener to something sharper, harder, dangerous. Conference room, everyone, 1 hour, no exceptions. He ended the call, met her eyes in the mirror. "Miss Rodriguez, your grandmother's name was Rosa." Elena's breath caught. "How do you—" "Tomorrow, things are going to change." He unlocked the doors. She stumbled out into the rain. Before she could ask his name, offer payment, demand answers, the Mercedes disappeared into the night. Elena stood there, water streaming down her face, holding that cryptic promise like a lifeline, and wondering if she just confessed everything to the one person who could destroy her completely. Elena awoke to Sophia's voice. "Mommy, why does it say we have to leave?" The eviction notice. Sophia had found it on the kitchen counter, her 9-year-old eyes scanning words like 30 days and failure to pay. "We're not leaving, baby." Elena pulled her daughter close, the lie tasting bitter. "Mommy's going to fix this." But the morning news made fixing anything impossible. Channel 7 led with her face. Luxury hotel coordinator charged with embezzling $40,000 from children's charity. Her professional headshot, the one where she looked confident, successful, now branded her a criminal. Sophia's school called at 8:47 a.m. "Mrs. Rodriguez, we need to discuss Sophia's tuition status. Also, several parents have expressed concerns about the situation. Now, perhaps it's best if Sophia stays home this week while things settle." Translation: your daughter is no longer welcome. Elena's public defender, Marcus Chen, returned her third call at noon. "Look, Miss Rodriguez, I have 43 cases this month. The DA has bank records, forged signatures bearing your handwriting, witness testimony from your supervisor. Take the plea. 3 years with good behavior beats 5 at trial." "I didn't do this." "That's nice. Trial is in 2 weeks. Think about it." He hung up. Elena needed to see him in person, make him understand. But when she opened her rideshare app, every request was denied. Her phone number had been flagged. Someone had filed complaints. Patricia's work, probably. So Elena walked. 2 miles in afternoon drizzle, her burgundy blazer soaked through again, on to arriving at Chen's cramped office only to have a receptionist say he'd left early. The walk back felt endless. Rain turned to downpour. Elena's phone died. Each step echoed with Rosa's voice. "Mia, when the world pushes you down, you stand back up." But how? How do you stand when everything's been taken? The black Mercedes appeared like a mirage, gliding to the curb beside her. Need a ride? The same driver, same unreadable expression. Elena should have been afraid, should have questioned why he kept appearing. Instead, she got in. "Vincent Mark," he said, extending his hand, "CEO of Mark Enterprises. I own the Grandeur Hotel chain, also about 40% of the luxury properties in this city." Elena's stomach dropped. "You own the hotel where Patricia Langford framed you." "Yes." He pulled into a coffee shop parking lot. "I've been investigating since I saw your arrest report 2 weeks ago. When I recognized your last name, Rodriguez, I had to know if you were Rosa's granddaughter. That's why I was waiting outside the hotel last night. I needed to hear your story." "You knew who I was?" Elena's voice was barely a whisper. "I knew Rosa saved my family 30 years ago. When I saw Elena Rodriguez accused of stealing from a charity, I knew something was wrong. Rosa's granddaughter wouldn't do that. Vincent's eyes held hers. Last night confirmed it. I've spent 18 hours reviewing security footage from backup servers Patricia didn't know existed, financial records, personnel files. Miss Rodriguez, I don't just think you're innocent. I can prove Patricia did this, and I have a proposition. Inside the quiet cafe, Vincent laid out an offer that sounded impossible. Coordinator position at the Mark Foundation, organizing charity events, legal defense fully covered, modest salary, a chance to rebuild. Why? Elena's voice shook. Why would you help me? Vincent's expression shifted, something dangerous flickering behind his eyes. Because I knew your grandmother. Rosa Rodriguez saved my family once. Now I'm going to save hers. Elena's world tilted. You knew Rosa. There's something you need to see. Vincent pulled out an old photograph, faded, creased at the edges. Two women standing together, arms around each other's shoulders, smiling at the camera. One was unmistakably Rosa, younger but with the same kind eyes Elena remembered. The other was a woman with Vincent's same strong features. That's my mother, Maria, Vincent said softly. And your grandmother, the day Rosa got us legal status, the day she saved our lives. Elena stared at the photograph in Vincent's office the next morning, still trying to process what it meant. Rosa and Maria, arms linked, both wearing expressions of triumph. On the back, Rosa's handwriting. April 1994, justice prevails when good people refuse to give up. R&M. Keep it, Vincent said. It belongs with Rosa's family now. Elena's first day at the Mark Foundation started with a plastic folding table in a community center that smelled of disinfectant and old coffee. No marble floors, no champagne fountains, just fluorescent lights humming overhead and a line of people clutching worn folders. Mrs. Garcia needs help planning her daughter's quinceañera, the volunteer coordinator explained. Budget is $300. Can you make that work? $300. When Elena had once spent more than that on centerpieces alone, she approached each consultation the way she'd approach the Vandermeer Gala, professional, efficient, presenting options with corporate polish. But something was wrong. People listened politely, then left without committing. One mother actually said, "You don't really understand, do you?" By Wednesday, Elena had helped exactly no one. Vincent appeared occasionally, observing from the back of the room. He never commented, never corrected, just watched with those unreadable eyes, then disappeared. Elena's frustration mounted. She knew how to coordinate events. Why wasn't this working? The criminal charges still loomed. Her trial was in 10 days. Sophia's school had officially expelled her, citing family circumstances. And here Elena was, failing at the one chance Vincent had given her. Thursday afternoon brought Mrs. Delgado, 73, hands twisted with arthritis, speaking English mixed with Spanish the way Rosa used to. My husband and I, we married 50 years ago in Mexico. He wants to celebrate here, but we don't have much money. Maybe $200? Elena started her usual pitch. Venue options, catering packages, timeline optimization, and saw Mrs. Delgado's eyes glaze over. Then the woman said something that shattered Elena's composure. "Mia, I just want him to feel special, like when we were young, before life got so hard." Rosa's voice echoed in Elena's memory. "Make people feel worthy of celebration." Elena set down her tablet. "Mrs. Delgado, tell me about your wedding day. What did it feel like?" The woman's face transformed. When she described a small church in Oaxaca, gardenias in her hair, her husband's nervous smile, dancing until dawn in her mother's courtyard, As she spoke, Elena stopped calculating budgets and started truly listening. "I can give you that feeling," Elena whispered. "Not the same day, but the same joy." She created magic with nothing, borrowed a church basement, recruited volunteers for authentic Mexican food, found a mariachi student group willing to play for experience. $200 stretched into an evening of pure dignity. At the anniversary celebration, Mrs. Delgado cried happy tears. Her husband kissed her hand like they were 20 again, and Elena felt something she hadn't felt in weeks: genuine purpose. Vincent appeared beside her, watching the elderly couple dance. "That's what your grandmother did. Made people feel worthy." "Thank you," Elena said quietly, "for the photograph, for believing in me, for everything." Vincent's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and his expression went dark. "We need to leave. Now, Patricia just filed an emergency motion. She's trying to move your trial up to next week. And there's more. She's petitioning for temporary custody of Sophia." Elena's childhood home sat empty, stripped of furniture. The real estate agent had been blunt. Sell now or face foreclosure. Legal fees don't pay themselves. She moved through rooms that still smelled like Rosa's cooking, touching walls that held decades of memories. In the back of Rosa's closet, beneath folded quilts, Elena found them. Leather journals, dozens of them, dating back 30 years. She sat on the dusty floor and began reading. Entry after entry revealed a Rosa. Elena had never fully known, not just a grandmother, but a warrior. "Helped the Morales family today. ICE came to their door. I called the lawyer, translated documents, stood with them until they were safe." Another page. "Found housing for the Chens. 3 children sleeping in their car. Not anymore." Rosa had fought for people society ignored. Coordinated paperwork, resources, dignity for those who had nothing. Then one entry stopped Elena cold. "Help Maria today. Single mother. Her son is 5. Deportation hearing in 2 weeks. I won't let them tear this family apart. Her son will make her proud someday. I can see it in his eyes." The date. April 1994. "She saved my life." Elena spun around. Vincent stood in the doorway, rain dripping from his coat, holding a worn diary. "Maria Mark, my mother." His voice was thick with emotion. "Rosa Rodriguez appeared at our deportation hearing with a lawyer she'd somehow convinced to work pro bono. Got my mother legal status, found her a job, helped her start a cleaning business, taught her English in the evenings, and she never asked for anything in return." He crossed the room, sat beside Elena on the dusty floor. "My mother died when I was 25. Cancer. But until her last breath, she talked about Santa Rosa, the woman who saved us, who believed we deserved dignity." Vincent opened his mother's diary. The entries matched Rosa's. Different perspectives, same story. 2 women fighting for justice in a system designed to crush people like them. "I built my fortune on the foundation my mother created. Everything I have exists because Rosa Rodriguez refused to let us disappear." Vincent's hands trembled. "When my mother was dying, she made me promise to find Rosa, to thank her, to repay the debt somehow. I searched for years, found out she'd passed 2 years ago." He looked at Elena with fierce intensity. "Then 2 weeks ago, I saw your name in the police report. Elena Rodriguez, Rosa's granddaughter, accused of stealing from a charity. I knew it was a lie. Rosa would never raise someone capable of that. So I started investigating, and when I saw Patricia Langford's name as the witness, I dug deeper, found things even my own hotel management didn't know." Tears streamed down Elena's face. "I abandoned everything she believed in, chased prestige instead of purpose. She'd be proud of you now. Vincent stood, pulling Elena to her feet. Which is why I'm not saving you, Elena. I'm repaying a debt I can never fully pay. Your grandmother saved my family. Now I'm going to save hers. And I'm going to destroy the woman who tried to frame Rosa's legacy. His phone rang. He answered, listened, and his expression went deadly. Patricia just filed a restraining order. Claims you've been threatening her. And Elena... His voice dropped to barely a whisper. Child Protective Services received an anonymous complaint about Sophia. They're scheduled to visit tomorrow morning. Vincent's lawyers stopped the CPS visit. Barely. Emergency filings, character witnesses, documentation that the complaint was fabricated. But the message was clear. Patricia was escalating, which meant they needed to move faster. We're creating a nonprofit, Vincent announced. Rosa's Legacy Event Agency. Elegant celebrations for communities that deserve them. You'll be founder and director. Full salary, full autonomy. I'm the silent partner funding it. Elena stared at him. You want to build a company while I'm facing criminal charges? I want to build your grandmother's dream while I destroy the woman trying to destroy you. His smile was sharp. And we're going to do it so publicly that Patricia can't touch you without exposing herself. The next week blurred into controlled chaos. Vincent secured office space in the barrio where Rosa had worked, a renovated building with exposed brick and natural light. Elena recruited volunteers, reached out to vendors, built a database of clients who needed help. Sophia became her assistant after school, designing invitations at the small desk Vincent had installed. Mommy, can we use Abuela's colors? The ones from her favorite shawl? Watching her daughter's enthusiasm, Elena felt something shift. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was legacy. Word spread fast in Rosa's old neighborhood. Rodriguez's granddaughter is back. Elderly women appeared at the office, sharing stories of how Rosa had helped them decades ago. A restaurant owner offered catering at cost. A florist donated arrangements. The community Rosa had served was returning the favor. Elena's style evolved. When the burgundy velvet blazer returned, but now she wore Rosa's pearl necklace with it, a bridge between her corporate past and her grandmother's values. The first major test came quickly, a community wedding for the Herrera family. 200 guests, $3,000 budget, 1 week to prepare. Elena orchestrated magic. She transformed a church basement into an elegant venue using donated fabric and strategic lighting. Coordinated volunteers for authentic Dominican food. Found a student orchestra willing to play for experience. Every dollar stretched, every detail intentional. When the bride walked down the aisle, her mother wept. This is more beautiful than we dreamed. Elena stood in the back, watching families dance and celebrate, and felt Rosa's presence like a warm hand on her shoulder. And this was what luxury really meant, making people feel worthy of beauty. Vincent appeared beside her, his expression urgent. We need to talk. My investigators found something. Patricia's embezzled over $200,000 over 3 years. We have proof. My security team accessed backup servers she didn't know existed. We have footage of everything. Elena's heart raced. Then we can clear my name. There's more. Vincent's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Patricia knows we're investigating. She just filed an emergency motion to take Sophia into state custody. The hearing is tomorrow morning. If we lose, your daughter goes into foster care while we fight this. The custody hearing lasted 12 minutes. 12 minutes for a family court judge to decide Sophia's fate based on Patricia's evidence. fabricated text messages where Elena allegedly threatened her, forged emails discussing fleeing the country, a sworn statement claiming Elena had appeared at Patricia's home, drunk and violent. All lies, elaborate, documented lies. Temporary foster placement, the judge ruled, pending resolution of criminal charges, mother's fitness to be reassessed after trial. Elena watched social workers take Sophia's hand, watched her 9-year-old daughter look back with tears streaming down her face, watched the daughter Rosa had never met disappear through courthouse doors. That was Elena's breaking point. But Patricia wasn't finished. She appeared on Channel 7 News 2 days later, perfectly coiffed, dabbing theatrical tears. I trusted Elena like family, mentored her for years, to discover she was stealing from sick children. I blame myself for not seeing the signs earlier. The interviewer leaned in sympathetically. What signs? Expensive clothes on a coordinator's salary, designer handbags, private school tuition she couldn't afford, the burgundy blazer she always wore. Do you know that cost $3,000? Elena watched from Vincent's office, hands clenched. The blazer had been a clearance sale find, $60. But Vincent's investigators were watching too, and seeing something Patricia had missed. Look at this. Vincent's lead investigator, Marcus, spread financial records across the conference table. Patricia Langford, Senior Events Director, base salary $95,000 annually. But look at her lifestyle. The photographs told a story. Patricia's new Mercedes, purchased with cash, her vacation home in Aspen, designer wardrobe, private club memberships, country club fees. She's spending $300,000 a year, Marcus continued, on a $95,000 salary. More documents appeared. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, shell companies, transfer records going back 3 years. Not $40,000, over $200,000, siphoned systematically from charity events, corporate galas, foundation fundraisers. And here's the best part. Marcus pulled up another file. Her husband, Richard Langford, hotel board member. He's been approving Patricia's financial reports. They're partners. Vincent pulled up video files on his laptop. My private security team installed backup systems Patricia didn't know about. We have footage from hidden cameras in the executive offices. Cloud storage she couldn't access. He pressed play. The screen showed Patricia alone in Elena's office after hours, accessing Elena's computer, forging signatures, creating false invoices, transferring funds. 3 years of systematic theft, captured in high definition. Vincent studied the evidence, his expression calculating. Your trial is in 4 days. We can't wait. We go public now. The Rosa's Legacy launch gala, Elena said suddenly. We were planning it for next month, but we move it up 3 days from now. Vincent's eyes gleamed. Same ballroom where you were arrested. We invite everyone, press, city officials, former clients. We announce Rosa's Legacy. And then we show them the truth about Patricia Langford. Marcus looked uncertain. That's cutting it close. What if we wait and Elena goes to prison? Vincent's voice was steel. We strike first, hard, and we do it publicly so Patricia can't spin it. Elena felt ice and fire warring in her chest. 3 days. 3 days, Vincent confirmed. Can you be ready? She thought of Sophia, trapped in foster care, of Rosa's journals, of the photograph of 2 women who'd refused to give up. I can be ready. Sophia's supervised visits happened twice a week in a gray room with a social worker taking notes. 20 minutes each. Elena couldn't hug her daughter too long. Inappropriate attachment behavior. Couldn't promise to bring her home, making false assurances to the minor. On the 4th visit, Sophia whispered, Daddy called me." Elena's blood ran cold. "What?" "He said he's coming to get me, that we'll live together and I'll have a real family." The man who'd abandoned his daughter 8 years ago, who'd never sent child support, never called on birthdays, never acknowledged Sophia's existence, now suddenly interested. Vincent's investigators traced the money within hours. Patricia had paid him $30,000 to file for full custody. Another $20,000 promised when he won. "Your criminal record makes you unfit," his lawyer's filing stated. "Father provides stable 2-parent household. Child's best interests require permanent placement away from criminal element." Elena read the words in her empty apartment. Sophia's drawings still on the refrigerator, her sneakers still by the door, and felt something inside her break. Not crack, shatter completely. Maybe Sophia deserved better. A mother without criminal charges, without scandal, without the weight of Rosa's legacy crushing everything. She found herself on the building's roof at 2 a.m., not planning anything, just staring at city lights and feeling hollow. The trial started in 3 days. The gala was in 2. Everything was happening too fast, converging toward a moment that would either save her or destroy her completely. Your grandmother didn't run. Vincent stood by the roof access door, his tie loosened, exhaustion in his eyes. Maria and I were about to be deported. Rosa faced judges, lawyers, ICE agents who looked at her like she was nothing. Did she run? "I'm not Rosa." Elena's voice was dead. "I'm just tired." "You're exactly Rosa." Vincent crossed the roof, thrust a thick folder into her hands. 3 years of Patricia's theft, offshore accounts, her husband's involvement, security footage of her planting evidence in your office. Everything we need to destroy her. He gripped Elena's shoulders. "We go public at Rosa's legacy launch in 2 days. Every news outlet will be there. We show this. Patricia gets arrested. The prosecutor drops all charges, and you get Sophia back, but I need you to hold on for 2 more days." Elena's phone buzzed. "I had a message from Sophia's foster family. She wanted you to have this." A photo of Sophia's journal. "Mom is like Abuela Rosa. She helps people even when she's scared. I want to be brave like my mom." Elena's hollow feeling ignited into something fiercer. Not hope, something harder. Determination. 2 days, she whispered. Then louder. 2 days, let's end this. Vincent nodded, but his expression remained grim. Patricia knows something's happening. She's scheduled a live television interview for tomorrow morning, trying to destroy your reputation one more time before the gala. But we're ready. Let her talk. In 2 days, the whole world will see the truth. He pulled out his phone, showed Elena the guest list for the Rosa's Legacy launch. Everyone who matters will be there. City officials, news outlets, your former clients, the prosecutor, even Detective Morrison. We've made sure of it. Elena looked out at the city, thinking of Rosa facing down federal agents, of Maria clutching her 5-year-old son, terrified of being torn from him, of all the people who'd been crushed by systems designed to protect the powerful and punish the vulnerable. Rosa didn't just fight for herself, Elena said quietly. She fought for everyone who came after her. And now you're doing the same. Vincent stood beside her. Rosa's legacy isn't just a non-profit. It's proof that they can't destroy people like you, like your grandmother, like all of us who refuse to disappear. 2 days until the gala. 2 days until everything changed. Elena touched Rosa's pearls at her throat and felt her grandmother's strength flowing through her. "Let's make her proud," she whispered. The Grandeur Hotel ballroom glittered exactly as it had the night of the Vandermeer Gala. But now the crystal chandeliers cast light on a very different scene. 2 days after that rooftop conversation, the same marble floors that had witnessed Elena's humiliation would witness her vindication. Elena stood at the ballroom entrance in her burgundy velvet blazer, Rosa's pearl necklace at her throat. Not armor anymore. Legacy. Vincent had executed his plan perfectly. Every news outlet had received invitations to cover the philanthropic launch event of the season. City officials came expecting a standard charity gala. Former clients came out of curiosity or guilt. Detective Morrison and the prosecutor came because Vincent's lawyers had strongly suggested their presence. Patricia came because she believed she'd won. Then Sophia appeared. Vincent had secured emergency custody modification for the evening, arguing the child should witness her mother's final public statement before trial. Her daughter ran into her arms, and Elena held on like she'd never let go. "Mommy, you look like a queen." "I look like Abuela Rosa, mija." Patricia entered last, confident in designer black, her husband on her arm. She'd accepted the invitation thinking it was surrender. Elena publicly humbling herself before trial, perhaps announcing she'd take a plea deal. Patricia's smile was pure triumph. But then she saw the screens flanking the stage, the professional camera crews, the prosecutors in the front row. Her smile faltered. Vincent took the stage as the room fell silent. "Thank you for coming. Tonight, we celebrate Rosa Rodriguez, a woman who believed dignity wasn't reserved for the wealthy." His voice carried across the ballroom. 30 years ago, Rosa saved my mother and me from deportation. She helped us build a life here. Everything I am exists because she refused to let us disappear." He told Rosa's story, Maria's story, decades of quiet heroism, of fighting for people society ignored. Rosa's granddaughter, Elena Rodriguez, continues that legacy. Tonight, we launch Rosa's Legacy Event Agency, an organization that will provide elegant celebrations for communities that deserve beauty and dignity. He gestured to Elena. As founder and director, Elena has already coordinated events that have touched hundreds of lives. Patricia's voice cut through the applause. "Wait." She stood, playing to the cameras. "We're celebrating a woman awaiting trial for embezzlement? Vincent, I understand loyalty, but this is..." "Justice," Vincent interrupted. His tone went cold. "We're celebrating justice, Patricia?" The screens blazed to life. Security footage, timestamp visible. Patricia in Elena's office after hours alone. Patricia accessing Elena's computer with what was clearly a stolen password. Patricia forging signatures on documents. Patricia creating false invoices. Patricia transferring funds to offshore accounts. The footage continued, relentless. 3 years compressed into 8 devastating minutes. Every theft, every forgery, every lie, all captured in high definition from hidden cameras Patricia never knew existed. Now the ballroom went silent except for the audio from the videos, Patricia's voice on phone calls discussing how to frame that Rodriguez girl for her crimes. Patricia's face drained of color. She backed toward the exit, but hotel security, Vincent security, blocked the doors. "Patricia Langford." Detective Morrison stood, handcuffs ready. "You're under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy, and filing false police reports." "This is a setup!" Patricia's composure shattered. "Vincent, you can't... Those videos are fake." "They're from my own security systems," Vincent said calmly. "Cloud-based backups you didn't know existed. along with forensic accounting that traces $237,000 to your offshore accounts, your husband's accounts too. As if on cue, 2 more officers entered. Richard Langford was just arrested at his office, one announced. He's being charged as an accessory. Patricia's legs gave out. Morrison caught her arm, steadying her as he read her rights. The same rights he'd read to Elena in this very building. The same walk of shame through the lobby, past colleagues and clients, except this time the phones were filming the right person. The prosecutor approached Elena, his face tight with professional embarrassment. "Miss Rodriguez, all charges are dropped effective immediately. We apologize for this miscarriage of justice. A full investigation into how this happened will be conducted." "See that it is," Vincent said quietly, but with unmistakable authority. "And I'll be watching to ensure it's thorough." As Patricia was led away in handcuffs, Elena felt Sophia squeeze her hand. And her daughter was watching, wide-eyed, as justice finally prevailed. Then the moment Elena had been waiting for, the social worker who'd supervised their visits approached, papers in hand. "Emergency custody reversal. Sophia is released to your care, effective immediately. I'm sorry this happened to you both." Sophia threw her arms around Elena's neck, and this time there was no social worker timing the embrace. No restrictions, no judge deciding whether a mother could hold her daughter. Elena took the microphone, her voice shaking but strong. "My grandmother taught me that true elegance means making someone feel worthy of celebration. For years, I forgot that truth. I served champagne to people who already had everything while my own community struggled." She looked at the faces in the crowd, some ashamed, some genuinely moved. Rosa's legacy exists to honor everyone who deserves beauty, but can't afford the price tag society puts on dignity. Every quinceañera, every wedding, every memorial service we coordinate. It's proof that luxury isn't about money. It's about making people feel they matter. Mrs. Vandermeer stood, tears streaming down her face. "Elena, I failed you. I should have believed you. I'd like to pledge $50,000 to Rosa's legacy and my personal apology." Others followed. Former colleagues who'd filmed her arrest now apologized, some crying. Former clients pledged support. The room transformed from a crime scene into something that felt like redemption. Vincent made the final announcement. "I'm establishing a $5 million endowment for Rosa's legacy, to permanent funding to ensure this work continues for generations." After the formal event ended, Elena found Vincent on the balcony overlooking the city. "We did it," she said quietly. "Rosa did it," Vincent corrected. 30 years ago, she showed us that one person refusing to give up can change everything. You just proved it again. 3 weeks later, Elena stood in a community center transformed into a fairy tale. Maria Herrera's quinceañera. 200 guests, a $1,000 budget, and more joy than any $500,000 gala Elena had ever coordinated. Sophia twirled across the dance floor in a dress Elena had made herself, laughing with other children. The custody case against her father had collapsed when investigators proved Patricia had paid him. He'd slunk back into whatever hole he'd crawled from. And the community center walls were draped in fabric the color of Rosa's favorite shawl. Flowers donated by local vendors filled every corner. A student mariachi band played traditional songs. Mrs. Delgado and her husband danced together, their anniversary celebration having sparked a friendship with the Herrera family. Vincent appeared with champagne, the cheap kind from the corner store, served in plastic cups. "To Rosa," he said. "To Rosa," Elena echoed. Sophia ran over, breathless. Mommy, Maria's mom said this is the most beautiful party she's ever seen, and it cost less than her car payment. Elena knelt down, pulled her daughter close. That's the secret, Mia. Beauty isn't about how much money you spend. Or it's about how much love you put into making people feel special. Like Abuela Rosa did? Exactly like Abuela Rosa. Sophia hugged her tight. Abuela Rosa is smiling, right, Mama? Elena touched the pearls at her throat. Rosa's pearls, which had survived deportation hearings and decades of community organizing and had finally come home. She never stopped, Mija. She never stopped. As the music swelled and families danced and children laughed, Elena heard Rosa's voice one more time. Not from memory, but from her grandmother's journal entry that she'd framed in the Rosa's legacy office. True elegance is making someone feel worthy of celebration. Give them that, Elena. Give them dignity wrapped in beauty. She finally had, and she would spend the rest of her life honoring that legacy.